and I am managing director of the strategy group, and we are a management consulting firm that works primarily with nonprofit organizations around planning and change management. And this session is about really none of that. This session is about reflection, both personal reflection and professional reflection. And it came to mind, it really started percolating for me around 3 months ago when the world changed. And I was talking to my friends and my colleagues, and everyone was talking about not wanting to go back to what was, how life was, that maybe we were a little off balance, and that we really needed to use this as a time for reflection and for change. And as I thought about it, I thought, if we really want to use this as a catalyst for positive change, we have to be clear not only in what we want, but how we act. So I designed this radical reflection process as a way to be more intentional in how I want to move forward. It's pretty simple. Hopefully, it's pretty joyful. And it can be used for both personal and professional development. So all you have to do is take a little time every day to answer some questions. And the process can be done individually, or it can be done in small groups. And it's kind of fun when you can do it in small groups. So we're going to start the process, but I do want to let you know that you will have access to all of the information in the PowerPoint right very shortly after this. So you don't really have to write anything down unless you're itching to do so. So we're going to spend the first part of time talking about the personal reflection and how we can decide how to behave differently as we move forward. So if you want to do this process solo, it's pretty easy. You have to answer 7 questions, and you give yourself 10 minutes to write your response to each question. And so it's a 1-week exercise. You answer 1 question a day. You can answer, a couple more if you want to, but it's iterative. And so if you answer 1 a day, you're going to think about it for the rest of the day. You're going to know the question that you're going to be addressing tomorrow. And make sure that you answer all the questions. You might say, well, I don't really like that question. Well, that's probably the question you need to answer most. So put it in your calendar. Put 8:30 every morning and say you're going to do this. Time yourself, and that's really important. When the timer goes off, stop writing. And so you time yourself because you don't want to wordsmith. You just this is a brain dump. And so you just want to write down whatever comes to mind. So here are the questions for your personal reflection. The first one is, what do I value? And let's say from the get-go, everyone or 99% of us are going to say we value our family, we value our friends. I got it, put it at the top of the page, and then move forward. You want to be specific about what you value. And I'll give you some examples of what I had written down. I value a great book. And I had put in my book group, and Alyssa Moses, who is here, is in my book group, just read This Tender Land. And it's like, I value this tender land. I value time to think. I value going on adventure hikes with my grandkids. I value the community I used to have at my coffee shop, and I miss it. So just write whatever comes to mind. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. You can have complete sentences, you can have bullets, doesn't matter. The next day, you're going to go into, what did I once value that I no longer do? So you can, some of the things that I wrote down. I don't value the Real Housewives of Anywhere. I don't value beautiful shoes that are no longer comfortable. So it can be deep, it can be not deep. The next one is, how do I show others what I value through my actions? So this is a dumb one, but it gives you, how do I show others what I value through my actions? Well, I know I no longer value uncomfortable shoes, so I got rid of them all. So you can really start looking at those things that you value, you don't value, and bring it back to action. What do I know to be true about myself? What would others say is true about me? How do I deal with ideas or situations that make me uncomfortable? And given what's going on in the world, number 6 is really important. And then the last question on the last day is, what have I learned about myself by answering these questions? So this isn't, if you think about it, this part of it is going to take a little over an hour of your time. And once you get into the groove, it can be very interesting. So you can do it by yourself, but you can also do it with friends or with colleagues. Get a group together, and everyone has to commit to doing it and to doing it every day. And you get on Zoom like we are today. The first 10 minutes, you just write. You answer the questions. There's no talking. Somebody has a timer. At the end of 10 minutes, the timer goes off and everyone stops. And then everyone goes around and shares what they wrote. Now, the goal is to support what people wrote, to affirm it, and not to critique it. So you might think about the questions. So what struck you about what you heard? What took your breath away? What did you love? What did you learn about that person? So, and it's so interesting and enriching and fulfilling to go around and hear others as well. And it helps even pique your own thought process as you move forward. So you finish the 7 days and you talk about what you learned. But the next thing that you have to do is you need to make a plan and keep it simple. Don't make it too large. So the first thing you want to do is, what are some things you can do right now? What are some things that you can do in the next month for yourself? And what are some things that you can do in the next 3 to 5 months for yourself, or 6 months for yourself? And what you want to make sure is those actions are actionable and measurable. I want to get rid of all of my high-heeled shoes, okay? That is actionable and measurable. What you don't want to do is make it too theoretical or in your head, because what we're doing is going from intention to action, and the plan is where you do that. If you're working as a group, have a follow-up meeting every other week. What do you do? How are you doing? Have you done what you said you wanted to do? And can we, your partners, your friends, help you with anything? So it helps keep people on track. And what it does, and what I have found, is that it unblocks me. When I just write down, just for those 10 minutes, what do I value? It really is a very cathartic exercise. So that is if you are looking for your personal development. The next thing is looking at professional reflection. And this is important as well. And the process is a variation on the theme. So the professional questions are, what's working well right now? What's not working well? What am I going to do differently when this is over? What decisions do I need to make? Do we have the resources and the capacity to grow or to continue? And why not? Why or why not? Who are our key partners? Can we strengthen our relationships with them? What do our clients need from us, and how is this different? And then the last one, and this is 8 questions, not 7. What have I learned by answering these questions? Same last question. Now, the process is just a little bit different. You give yourself 15 minutes to write your response to each question. You can answer 1 a day, or if you have several hours, if you have 3 hours, do them all at once. And again, you put it on your calendar, you time yourself, and when the timer goes off, you stop. So, and what I found when I did this is some of the questions I wanted more time, and some of the questions I was done in 10 or 11 minutes. And then I kind of used that time to look back on my responses and say, I don't like this one, or I'll change it. So but if I didn't get it all done in 15 minutes, I still finished right then. So again, if you want to do this with a group of colleagues or a group of whether they're people you work with or just people you know, you can do it again in small groups. And there is something powerful about doing it in small groups in that it keeps you somewhat honest in terms of doing it, and you have to share it. And the same questions or the same rule of the goal is to support and affirm, not to critique, goes for this as well. So when somebody reads their answer, everyone gets a chance to respond. Oops, excuse me. And again, you say, what surprised you? What did you learn? Was there one key takeaway from what that person said? If you're all from the same organization, it's very helpful because it can be an iterative process. And then you make the plan. And that is the same process. What are you going to do in the first month? And the reason you do some actions for the next month is you want some early wins. You want to say, oh, I said I was going to do this and I did it. And that gives you some motivation to continue. So celebrate the successes that you actually do, and you can really continue this beyond the 6 months. You can do the process again. And if you're working as a group, check in with each other weekly about how things are going. So, if you have any questions or anything afterwards, you can always reach out to me. This is my email address and our website. But I wanted to stop the share and answer questions that people might have.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's Melissa. So I can imagine starting this and wanting to keep going. So you do the first question, you want to go to the second question. Mm-hmm. Is there a reason to take that, daily approach as opposed to doing them all like on the personal reflection?
So one of the reasons of not doing them all at the same time is that you have more time to think about the questions that will be coming tomorrow. So I would say for the personal, I think it would be better to space it out. Maybe do 2 questions a day rather than 1. And so you can finish it in 4 days.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Nancy?
All right, Deborah, I like how you said not to others if you're doing this as a group. How about when you judge yourself as you're writing, and that whole like free flow writing is very hard because you're overthinking and you're already judging what you're writing.
Right. So, you know, you just have to, here's the way I do it. Okay. Is I do it in bullets. I just say you know, what do you value? I put I value at the top of the page, and then I just bullet down. And I start doing it really quickly. And if I do it quickly, I can't judge myself.
Helpful.
And sometimes when I read it at the end, I'm kind of surprised with what I even wrote. And if I can't get started, I put dumb stuff down. I put, you know, what don't I value? I don't value Real Housewives. I don't value 90 Day Fiance. I don't, you know, and then things start getting a little deeper.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Deborah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried the professional questions with a small leadership team? And if so, what was the result?
So I have not done it with a small leadership team. We will be doing it, but I have not done it yet with a small leadership team, Dan. So I've done it by myself.
Yeah. Do you think it's applicable to a small leadership team?
100%.
Okay. It sounds like it would be.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
Deborah, it's Teresa. Did you find that the actions from this were manageable, so you felt you got through, say, 70 to 80% of what you thought you might do? You know, my going rate for my own actions is probably not quite that. So I'm just wondering, like, what the rate of success is if you're chunking it up in this way. And I can see people smiling, so you know what I mean.
Okay, so I think that I'm a bad person to ask that question, Teresa, because we do planning all the time with people. And so we develop these, you know, actionable steps. So we tend to be pretty diligent on them. What I would suggest doing is starting with some easy ones. Don't start with hard ones. Don't start with, I'm going to become a vegan tomorrow. You know, you have to start with something that is actionable and realistic, so that you want to continue to feel the successes.
Awesome.
Deborah, so if we wanted to do it as a team, like the HAYVN team or something, how would this work?
So what you would do if you wanted to do it as a HAYVN team, you would all have the questions. You would all, well, you're in the office, but I'm going to say, because most of us are still using Zoom, you do a Zoom meeting. Felicia, you're the timer. You put your timer on. Everyone starts writing. Then at the end of 10 minutes, or whether you're doing the personal or professional, then you say, Teresa, would you like to share? Or you say, who would like to share? And then when nobody says anything, you say, Teresa, do you mind sharing first? And Teresa reads her list, however she wrote it, whether it's complete sentences or however, and you give her feedback. But what's really important is you give her positive feedback, because what you want this to be is a supportive environment for each other. And if it becomes a critique, nobody's gonna be honest in what they write. They're gonna write safe.
But you also come in and you could be a facilitator or something like that, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
And if we did one, would it be like you do it a 3-hour session or something, or
For the personal or professional?
professional?
Yeah, it would be about a 3-hour session.
Right.
Any other questions?
Nancy's asking.
Deborah, wearing my marketing hat, to me, this also sounds like a great exercise if you're trying to get to sort of those core values, right? Like when you're as a company or a group or an organization, this sounds like a wonderful building block for that path as well. Do you see that work that way?
Yep. I hadn't thought of it. I love it because we love core values. But so you could definitely weave that in.
Awesome.
Terry, I think.
So sure, I'll ask maybe, well, two things. One, a comment. I totally resonated when you said our coffee community, because boy, do I miss that too. And also on the shoes. There are a few pairs of shoes in my closet that are going tomorrow. As soon as the thrift shop opens up from the pandemic purge. How would you see this working in political groups? Because I think the dialogue has gotten so hard and so senseless, and it's all in bullet points that are often not rational and certainly not respectful. Yeah. How would you see we might change that on a local grassroots level?
So I would say that I would almost combine some personal and some of the professional questions. But Terry, I'll tell you something. If you wanted to do something like this, I would do it for you pro bono.
Thank you.
For a political group, because I think that it could have real benefit. I think that it would be a hybrid, but we could figure something out.
Great. Thank you. That's what I was thinking too, just the point you were making on the core values, because so many of us do share core values, and to get back to that is so critical. We all deserve that. Yeah. Thank you. This was great. Really love this. And I love you. You know that.
And I love you too, Terry.
Okay.
Oh, there's one question. Oh, okay. Just if person to person is open this week, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1, to collect clothing and your uncomfortable shoes. You have to divide by sex, size, and bags, and for drop off. So thank you so much, Felicia.
Actually, that was Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa.
It doesn't change.
Wait, say that again. Sex, so male, female, kid, and
sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? It's Susan Wilson. What they're doing? They're handing out bags to people. You have an 8-year-old boy that wears a size 12. Here's a bag of size 12. You just take what you get.
Got it. Okay.
So that's how they're asking people to donate now. Deborah, I have a question for you. Would you recommend families do the personal part together?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me see. You know, I think that would be fantastic. And so, Susan, I think you should do it with your family and let me know how it goes, because I think that is a great idea.
All right, I'll give you a shout out after we do it.
I want to hear how that goes.